Happy Friday night, and I just got paid money. Hi everyone, that's my Friday night song. And I'm here in a very normal outfit that I always wear. What do you think? Welcome to an emergency siren session of Kia's World live streams. I was going to do this at some point, and I was like, well, maybe I can wait. But it's just too juicy, too interesting, too many tags on Reddit to ignore it any longer. So we're going to talk about Heidi Powell once again, because apparently, I have not listened to this yet. I've read the reviews on Reddit about this podcast, video podcast we're about to listen to. And apparently it's juicy. Apparently there's tea dropped. Apparently it's kind of crazy. There's a lot of revelations, and I'm excited to hear about them. So if you are coming here for some weird reason, you don't know who we're talking about, I'll give you the very, very quick rundown. Heidi Powell, okay, that's a person. That is a woman that you probably know if you're here. Or it's a person you've seen on your TV at some point in the early 2000s. She was on Extreme Weight Loss with her husband at the time, Chris Powell. And apparently his name comes up today as well. Her and I go way back. We have a history personally because, you know, I've talked about her and Heidi Powell. I've talked about her quite a bit. I've talked about her ex-boyfriend, Dave Hollis, who is now passed away from cocaine and fentanyl overdose. That is public knowledge. That came out in his autopsy report publicly. And so I've been covering them for years now about their self-help journey and whatnot. And Rachel Hollis obviously used to be married to Dave Hollis. Dave Hollis and Rachel Hollis divorced, and he immediately, within a couple months, if not a month, got with Heidi Powell, and they were publicly putting their relationship all over the internet. There was a lot to say about it. They were trying to be a Brady Bunch family, you know, and make content and teach people about their lives. I had a lot to say about it. Anyways, so at one point, the Wall Street Journal got involved in this story and wrote a piece about Dave Hollis's life and his obsession with online criticism and how hard it was for him to deal with people not agreeing with him 1,000%, even though in his self-help book, he wrote 2 while he was alive, the one that I read, Built Through Courage, there is an entire chapter about how you need to be okay with criticism. You need to suck it up and get through it because every single person in this life will face criticism at some point. His own advice was to get through it. It's okay. That's the price of having a good life. But yet it seems in reality, he was unable to live up to those standards that he set for himself. So Heidi basically, in so little, how do I say this? Heidi essentially accused me personally, Kia, via DM that I was somehow responsible or should feel guilt for what happened to Dave, like me personally, and the other people who talk about them on Reddit. And at the time, I felt very bad about things. And I felt horrible that Dave died. I still feel horrible that he died. It seems like it was his fault. Like it was, you know, at first they said it was a heart attack. It turns out that was not quite true. So, you know, how am I supposed to control a person I've never met? You know, like I'm not taking on that burden. But anyways, Heidi has, you know, thrown out accusations here and there about who's responsible. She seems to be changing that a little bit, perhaps seeing things a little bit differently. And maybe in this podcast, we will see that. Also, I'm going to do my makeup during this stream because I'm attempting to have a social life, if you can believe it. So I will be, and I'm a little sweaty, if you can tell. I showered like 5 seconds ago. So I'm going to get freshened up, and by the end, maybe I'll look cute. Hopefully. Is there anything I'm missing? This is Dave. I'll show you a picture of Dave Hollis, in case you've never walked this earth before. There he is. And there's Heidi and Dave. And apparently, like I said, Heidi's going to talk about Chris Powell, who's her ex-husband, who, you know, there's been rumors about them, why they broke up. Nothing's been super confirmed other than there was some unfaithfulness. but allegedly she spills the tea. So today's drink, spice cider, sparkling water from Whole Foods. I was there because I had to return something from Amazon. I had to return actually Taro's couch that I thought would be cute, but it came and it was this big and my apartment's this big, so she doesn't get to keep her couch. I'm sorry. Nobody tell her. She didn't like it. She didn't lay on it once. Okay, I promise. Anyway, some guy 000001. Hello and welcome. Some guy says, twice in 1 week, euphoric noises. Thanks, Kia. Well, you're welcome. You know, I'm here to serve. I kind of wanted to stream twice this week for some reason, and I'm glad that I did.
There's a first for everything.
There is a first for everything, Heidi. My goodness gracious.
I was birthing Heidi Lane.
Oh yeah, her name's Heidi Lane now.
I have a new epiphany. I have a new revelation every single time.
You see, glass skin, more like hot skin. It's a little toasty. I kind of want to turn my fan on. Hopefully it's not too loud. Let's test because I am sweating. Give me 2 seconds. This is a temporary break. Better. Okay, you might hear a little humming. I'm so sorry that you're gonna hear humming, but I need to breathe. Okay, so just to keep everyone up to date as well on this podcast, it's called Momcast with Emma Jade. And apparently she's a seven-time Emmy Award-winning journalist. Okay, well, that might be cool for you, Emma. Seven-time Emmy winner. How about one-time Emmy winner? We're basically the same person. So I feel like I'm allowed to criticize a fellow Emmy contestant / winner. If you're holding an Emmy trophy, you're allowed to do critique podcasts. That's the rule I've heard. Anyway, so she's somehow an anchor, and now she's got this like side podcast where she talks to moms, I'm assuming, on Thursdays. So that's who is conducting this interview. And I find it funny. I'm wearing the same top as them, essentially. They went with matching outfits. And that's when you know it's going to be a good podcast. Twinning Momcast with Emma Jade. Okay. Are we all tucked in? Are we ready to go? We got our snacks. We got our spiced sparkling waters. It's dribbling down my chin. Yummy. Okay, first, before we move on, thank you so much to Hot Jelly in the Morning. Hot Jelly in the Morning sounds delicious. They say, you are my fave YouTuber of all time. So funny. Oh, thank you. Thank you so much. You know how I feel right now?
I don't know anything more cultish than that.
Why does this sound cult every second?
We're not a cult.
That's how I feel about that. I'm your leader, and you're welcome.
Why am I so emotional?
I don't know. It's probably the hot jelly that I had this morning. It's coming through my pores. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Oh, also, finally, I see that that's a Canadian $2.
We have a lot of really great friends from Canada.
Thanks, Heidi. All right. Without further ado, here it is.
Heidi Powell. Maybe you know her from TV, from her books, her viral workouts and nutrition videos all over social media, or maybe...
Okay, that's a little bit of a stretch. Her viral videos... I don't think she's had a viral video since the vacuum twist of 2015, but okay.
From her relationships, dealing with heartbreak and tragedy in the public eye.
Question. Why does this say Grieve Dave? Why, is that a screenshot of a subtitle? Or did someone at the news station put that as like the name of the file and forgot to take it out? Grieve Dave. Okay.
She's born and raised right here in Arizona, raising her family here too. And today on Momcast, we sit down with the mom and mogul on how her trials, her...
Oh God, someone call Rachel Hollis. Heidi Powell's the mogul? Rachel's got the tattoo, but Heidi Powell's got the anchor saying it. Dang. Beige Club. Hey, babes in the Beige Club. Okay, sorry.
Successes even her slip-ups have led her to this new perspective on power and purpose.
Yes.
Heidi, I can't, we have been talking about doing this interview for months now, and I'm so excited. But here's what's so funny about you is that I feel like it's kind of tricky to define Heidi Powell. So when people ask you, like, oh, what do you do? Where do you start?
I thought you were going to say it's tricky.
I put myself and my children on the internet and try to garner as much attention as possible. That's what I do, babe.
To define, like, how to nail me down, because that is true.
Well,
too.
that's true. Yeah, exactly.
Gosh, how do you
Gosh, she got real comfortable real quick.
define Heidi Powell?
Yeah.
You know, I think this is kind of a thing that I've thought a lot about over the last few years, because I think so many people define me by what they see me having accomplished on the outside, the TV show, the books, the podcast, whatever it is. And I've had to work really hard to almost extricate myself from that and remind myself that none of that actually matters. And I am just, I'm myself. I am who I am. I'm a child of God. I am a mother of 4 kids. I am a daughter. I'm a friend. I am anything and everything I want to be. I know that sounds so woo-woo and interesting, but
No, it just sounds like you don't know who you are, which relatable, #relatable, I guess, you know?
I want to be relatable.
I'm nothing and everything all at the same time. Okay. All right. Interesting way to talk about yourself, I suppose.
I've gone through a lot over the past handful of, over the past decade, over the past life. I mean, it's like it just keeps going. And one of the things I've realized, there was this great quote that says, they say the universe, but I think you could replace it with God. The universe
it's a multiple quoted person.
Will remove, the universe will continue to remove things from your life that you place your value in until you realize it's not there. And it was at a time where I felt like everything was being removed from my life. I had a marriage being removed. I had businesses being removed. I had control being removed. I had my best friend and boyfriend dying and being removed. And it was like all of these things that I felt I was, or I needed to be in the world's eyes to be enough, successful, or whatever. Literally, it was like one by one they continued to remove themselves, or God removed them from my life to remind me that that's not who I am. And if I think or continue to say...
The question was, how do you define yourself? And the answer is, God removed and killed people off in my life so that I could learn more about myself. She always takes it there. It's so interesting. And I guess that's just a way to cope, I suppose. It's a coping mechanism. But whenever people make things like world disasters or deaths about them, and especially when they say, God did this for me to succeed, it's like so weird. It's like that person had an entire life outside of you for 40 plus years. You think that God then intervened and said, well, Heidi needs to learn that she is strong, so your life's over, buddy. Like, that seems crazy.
That I am that, I'll never find peace. So who am I? I'm me. And I
also shout out Mariah. Just got a text. A real life person from my life is watching for once. Yay, everyone. Somebody. Thank you.
The last few years, as I've, after Dave passed, which is a whole topic in and of itself, I have placed a lot less value in business and in work and even in...
well, yeah, because he was doing 90% of the work.
Being who I think the world needs me to be. And I've placed all of my value in my home with my kids and what they need. But yeah, then it's like, okay, what would somebody see me as? There's fitness, there's nutrition, there's exercise, there's supplements. It's just kind of like, it's a lot. It's very multifaceted.
Yeah, but it seems like you've now placed your worth kind of in a different bucket than maybe you did in the past, especially when you look at what you've done in your life. I mean, you have a long list of accolades from books, you mentioned podcasts, TV shows, marriages, divorces. thing that that a lot of people know you from is from social media.
Yeah.
Are we considering divorce as accolades now? You have so many accolades. Books, podcasts, divorces. Huh? Sorry. I skipped ahead on accident. Because little Taro had to come. Okay, I don't know if you can see it, but I got her a little, like, perch thing that's right here. Here, can you see it? A little perch that's attached to the desk. I'm trying to get her used to it. I don't think she likes it yet because she has to step up into it, and she doesn't like stepping up. Step up. Show up and step up for your life, kitties. Okay, continue.
Exercisers, supplements, it's just kind of...
Sorry, I'm going back.
And if I think or continue to say that I am that, I'll never find peace. So who am I? I'm me. And the last few years, as after Dave passed, which it's a whole topic in and of itself, I have placed a lot less value in business and in work and even in being who I think the world needs me to be. And I've placed all of my value in my home with my kids and what
does the world need her to be? People say that. Rachel says that too. Like, women just needed me to be an inspirational figure. No, we don't.
they need.
We're good. We'll be all right.
But yeah, then it's like, okay, what would somebody see me as? There's fitness, there's nutrition, there's exercisers, supplements. It's just kind of like, it's a lot. It's very multifaceted.
Yeah. But it seems like you've now placed your worth kind of in a different bucket than maybe you did in the past, especially when you look at what you've done in your life. I mean, you have a long list of accolades from books, you mentioned podcasts, TV shows, marriages, divorces. I mean, you've lived a lot of lives, Heidi. And one thing that that a lot of people know you from is from social media. Yeah. And when you build your life on social media, it's all about you. Yeah. And how has that been? How has that gone?
Having a life built on social media, all about me.
Yes.
Well, I think what's interesting is I never intended to build a brand ever. Ever. All right. Like, this was all something that kind of happened because I was really my ex-husband, who I did the TV show with.
Yes.
I was his behind the scenes manager and really fixer and biggest supporter and cheerleader and champion. Anything he wanted, I wanted to make happen. He was the dreamer, I was the doer. And it was literally like anywhere he needed support.
He was the dreamer, I was the doer. Yet he had gotten himself a national television show. So he did something. I don't think she was the one who brought that to him. I think he had that before she was around. I think. I could be totally wrong, but she was only in the last season before it got canceled, I think. So I feel like he was doing good or fine. Doing things, and maybe she helped him do things, but to say he was the dreamer, I was the doer is a little maybe overstating. Nicole Campbell, welcome. Nicole Campbell says, finally caught a live instead of the replay. Well, it's your lucky day. Yes Is it your lucky day?
Yeah.
Is it your unlucky day?
No.
Thanks, Heidi. For you, Nicole Campbell, you've been here. You are an OG, for real. You've been here from like day one, and we appreciate you.
How we gonna do it if you really don't want to dance? By standing on the wall. Get your backs up off the wall. Yeah.
That was for you, Nicole. Thank you so much. Okay, back to Heidi. No, nothing's happened juicy so far.
It was my worth at that time in my life, which thankfully, because it led me here. And also I can recognize now that my worth was in being what anyone needed at any cost or expense to myself, right? And so me jumping in and helping with whether it was his online program or we created the show together, and me jumping in and helping behind the scenes led to a brand on TV, which then was like, Heidi, you've never had Instagram or social media, so start that. So really, social media only came as the result of me being on TV, being super uncomfortable on TV, not knowing, it's not my.
I don't believe that at all. And also, she's like, I never had social media. But when she was on the show, it was like 2010. Social media was really just in its infancy, especially for the older generations. They weren't on it yet. So she kind of started when everyone started.
It's not my innate genius. I've had to learn to be comfortable on camera. But like, if I was doing a shoulder press before on camera with no words, I was like freezing up. I was completely not a natural. So this whole life kind of created because I had to have the supporting social media to go with what it was that I was doing. And so honestly,
Sorry.
I'm grateful for that because I don't think I ever felt like I had to be who I wasn't on social media because I never really understood how many people were watching, or like you see a number like 100K, 200K, 300K, whatever it is, you see a number.
1 million, 5 million, 1 bazillion, you know, it's like whatever. I don't even see it. I don't even care about it. I look at it every second of the day to make sure it's going up, but I don't even care at all.
And it doesn't really
register.
No.
Yeah.
No. And so I think there has, and I've never really watched a lot of other accounts. It's really like I just did it, and I probably, yes, not even probably, I was an oversharer for a very long time.
And girl, she's saying that as if it's past. It ain't past. She still is talking about like my wedgie back, you know, in last month was crazy. Let me show you 14 photos from the day that I wedgied myself. It's like, you know, okay, we get it. Or, oh my God, I ran off with the gas hose again. Ugh, my shopping cart. I bought someone else's groceries at the grocery store. Oh, my boyfriend's getting arrested. Oh, like everything. My children have a, you know, disease, venereal disease. Let's tell everybody. She hasn't changed that behavior as far as I've seen. Darby DeFord. Thank you so much, Darby DeFord. Darby says, catching up on the Kiaverse. You're in it. You're in the ground zero of the Kiaverse right now. Hollisville is the city in which we started this. No, technically, Chronically Rah-Rah's basement is where we started this journey. But now we've expanded. And Chronically Rah-Rah is just outside the borders of Hollisville. So we're at home today.
This self-heal and deworming community is pretty amazing.
Yep. And we've gone across the world. We even went to heaven earlier this week. We've really expanded around here. Anyways.
Humans.
Finally.
I was a waitress at Denny's.
Did you know that, Darby? Now you do. All right. Back to it.
Anyone who's watched me for years would know. And it's just because I almost viewed it as a diary for my family for many years.
But your family went through, I mean, Heidi, you've gone through.
Why is there music? I thought that was me. I thought I clicked something. They just randomly put a high beat song in the middle.
Horrible stuff. You lost your dad. You've had 2 divorces.
Momcast is sponsored by...
What the hell was that? What kind of intro is that? She goes, you had 2 divorces. Your dad died. Dun, 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 dun. I thought that was my fault. No, it's not.
For many years.
But your family went through, I mean, Heidi, you've gone through horrible stuff. You lost your dad. You've had 2 divorces.
Momcast
She's dragging her. Oh my God.
is sponsored by Moxie Pest Control.
Okay. Get back to it. So tell me about your dad who died and your 2 divorces. Yeah.
I mean, Heidi, you've gone through horrible stuff. You lost your dad. You've had 2 divorces. You had, you know, Dave Hollis, who you were...
Grieve Dave. This is not a good screenshot that they took.
Dating, pass away. All these really heavy things that have happened. And you've shown up on social media and you've talked about all of those really heavy things. How?
For attention, Jade. You're from this planet. You know how it works by now. You're in the media. That's how people make money these days. Come on, get a clue. I love your outfit, but get a clue.
You know, I don't know how I have I think it's because I haven't really understood or grasped or registered what is behind that number, like I said. But also, I'll say this, because I've done a lot of therapy and a lot of coaching.
Like therapy, she means ketamine. So if she's gone to a real therapist, kudos. If she's, you know, getting high with her buddies, that's not the same thing.
And a lot of just, I mean, a lot of healing. And in my healing, what I've realized is as a child, I was not expressive at all. I was very quiet. I was a quieter girl in elementary school, junior high, high school. I didn't feel safe, maybe, expressing how I felt. I was not a crier. I couldn't cry. I was raised with 3 brothers, and it was like in that generation, it was like you're raised to keep it all in. I didn't know who I was I had zero concept of who I was. I was anorexic and bulimic in high school, and then for about a decade after, which turned into a food addiction. So all of that, now I'm learning, all of that is the result of not expressing, and trauma. We all have trauma, so I'm not putting it on anyone, but having trauma in one way or another, whether it's sexual or some kind of abuse by anyone, right? So being
kind of a weird way to say that. I mean, people, yes, I think have trauma, but to specifically bring up sexual, it's like not everybody, but okay, go on.
That and being so shelled off and not knowing that I can share or never really sharing and feeling scared to share over the years of me having an eating disorder come out, a marriage fall apart, my first marriage fall apart, and different things in my life. And then eventually it was really when my dad passed in 2011, I think that was kind of the floodgates kind of opened, the dam broke and the floodgates opened. And then it was like I was so scared to share anything because I felt like if people knew who I really was before that point, if they knew what I'd really done, like my eating disorder, if they saw who I really am inside and all of the yuckiness that is just truly just humanness, they're not going to love me. And I think we all are on a quest to be loved and accepted and enough. But then the interesting thing happened, that was when I shared, which actually I think the first time I shared anything like huge about me was on national television as the show was airing in season 2 or 3 about my eating disorder. Like that was shame. I never had told Chris about it. My last husband didn't know about it. I had not told a single soul because there was so much shame about my eating disorder. And so to be in a place where it was a part of an episode because one of our participants had an eating disorder, and so I had shared with her, it became this, I was like, oh my gosh, what's everyone gonna think? I saw that, like, all the Brene Brown stuff, like vulnerability is courage. Like it takes courage to share. And once you share, you unknowingly give everyone around you the same courage. And so I saw that happen. And it just like this relief, like this weight on my shoulders that I'd been carrying for decades. I mean, high school, it was like everyone probably knew I was bulimic or anorexic. And it was just this like, it was this thing I kept locked away in a box and acted like it had never happened. I had, got veneers because my teeth were ruined, all of these things. And so to be able to speak it, I was no longer afraid of it, Like one of the things I think about is...
None of this stuff is new thus far. This has been kind of... Any time she does a podcast, she says stuff like this. So no revelations have been made yet.
When you're a kid and you're in bed at night and there's like this shadow against the wall and you're terrified of the shadow, it's only because you don't know what the shadow is coming from and you don't have the lights on to see it. So as soon as you can turn the light on, you can name the object that's creating that shadow. You're not scared of the shadow anymore. And it was like when I started to turn the lights on, which truly I only did because I felt pressure to. Thank goodness I was a people pleaser back then. Not so much now. Everything works out beautifully. In the past 5 years since my...
I'm losing losing the focus of like what she's talking about. She's answering the question, how can you share so much? Why do you share so much? And she was like, well, I had an eating disorder and I felt like when I was a kid I couldn't share, but then when I got married, then I felt like I could share something, but then I had an eating disorder. My first husband didn't know about it, but everyone in high school knew about it. I'm losing it. I'm losing the thread. What's going on? The question has gotten out of control. I don't think she really quite knows what she's saying. And then she said she came out with it, that she had an eating disorder for the first time, and shared this on national television because someone on the show that she was on, Extreme Weight Loss, had an eating disorder. So she did it, but she didn't do it because she saw others like Brene Brown sharing. She did it because she was forced to, because she was a people pleaser, but that all worked out and she's grateful for it. That's quite the roundabout way to say nothing. I don't know. What are you trying to say, Heidi? I'm not sure. Asari Shepherd, thank you so much. Welcome. Asari Shepherd. Asari says, Heidi hitting the word count for her essay. Yeah, she's like, I don't know how I share, but here's a full rundown of everything that's embarrassing about my life. Let me just tell you. I'll prove it that I really do not overshare anymore.
This is just stupid.
You can choose to stay blind.
Here's a good one for you, Asari.
Call the police. Call the psych ward.
Take off your glasses and go drive a vehicle.
I'm just kidding, Asari. Thank you so much, as always. All right. Let's try to catch back up to what she's saying here.
Divorced with Chris, or I don't even know, is it 6? I feel like I've lived 5 lifetimes. Genuinely, I feel like I'm a completely different person every year because I'm learning lessons, oftentimes the hard way, oftentimes from mistakes that I've made, and occasionally, I would say all of those I can connect to, okay, it's because of this traumatic moment as a child. So being able to see it all has me loving and appreciating who I am and how I am, and yeah. So I don't mind the public life, I guess. There are times I want to run away.
Sure.
Oh, yeah. Well, I don't want to.
We know that you love the public life. It's better than working at an office. You get to do whatever you want. You get to look pretty. You get to get Botox, make money from it. Like, that is a desirable life for someone who does not really mind criticism. I don't think she really cares at all, to be honest, about criticism. I think she says that it's really hard for her, and it might be at times, but I think overall she likes attention whatever way she can get it, is my opinion, my take on the matter.
And let's talk about that, because you think about your second divorce with Chris, which was a very public relationship already. You guys are both, you had a TV show that was very successful. And then there's that, so there's the pressure of that. And then you guys are showing up on social media, you're building brands, you're building businesses, you have 2 kids together, and your other 2 kids from a previous marriage. And
there was literally national news stories about how their families blended so perfectly. They did like a full feature piece on like Good Morning America, where it was Heidi Powell, her ex-husband, Chris, and all the kids, you know, taking family photos together. And it was a breaking news overnight. A woman and her husband don't neglect the ex-husband and his children. Like, 2010 was such a crazy time for news. The woman that put the Chewbacca mask on was like national news for 14 days. Things have really escalated since then. Anyways.
Then it falls apart.
Yeah.
But you're in the public eye, so you almost have to talk about it, right?
I didn't talk about it, first of all, okay. She's like, oh, you had a very public relationship, whatever. That's true. Again, they're not like Brangelina. Okay, so let's keep this in perspective. But also, they kept it a secret for over a year. So she's talked about that multiple times as well, that they were secretly divorcing and separating for at least like 12 months before they announced it publicly. So they did lie, I guess, or keep their private life private. So she wasn't sharing when it was happening, which is fine, but okay, I guess she's saying, well, you had to talk about it. Well, I guess not. They waited a whole year and didn't talk about it. Anyways.
Apart.
Yeah.
But you're in the public eye, so you almost have to talk about it, right? How did you figure that out?
Yeah, so I think I'm realizing there's really nothing you actually figure out. You just do it.
Really?
And then you just
really?
Like, it's like if you do something and you say the whole time, I wish I would have done it this way, or you say, okay, I'm going this way, but maybe I should go over here. Like, it's just you choose. I go all in with everything, and so does Chris. So it actually, I don't want to say it was easy. He and I at the time had a successful app company. Yeah. We had a successful supplement company, which, and obviously the brand. The show had been canceled by that point in time. I think he and I, without going too far into it, there were issues in our marriage, and I would say the majority of the issues truly were a result of me. I'll get emotional. They were the result of me not knowing who I was.
Well, that's what's interesting, though, is you'd think by that time in your life, you've 4 kids deep.
Lady, this is the moment to let her have a moment. If there's ever emotion in an interview like this, it's like, let the person have a second. It's good TV. Let them feel and then go, it's okay. And let them continue. That's my advice. She was about to say something.
2 marriages in, you grew up, you know.
Really, no.
And you're questioning yourself at that point in your life. Heidi, that's so scary.
Yeah, and that was the first time I'd really started looking at things that maybe Chris had seen or past people in my life had seen. And it's like, if you don't know what your trauma is, get into a relationship and you will find it, you know? And it was...
Every person who interviews online gurus, they act like the things they say are so profound and the first time they've ever heard them. Wow. Oh, like, do you not have TikTok? That's like every third TikTok I see. Someone giving that advice. Constantly. Wow. Shocked. Wow, so profound. It's like, okay, these are pretty basic concepts, but all right.
Just not knowing. I don't think anyone really knows who they are until they halfway through their life find it.
Momcast is sponsored by...
Everyone has trauma. Dun, 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 dun. Tell me about your failed relationships. Yes. God.
I would say over the course of the 10 years I was with Chris, I figured out who I was by the end. Very much so. And I think Chris and I both knew, like, halfway through, we're like, okay, this probably might not work. And also, he and I were really great friends. We were really great friends. He is, I mean it, I'll cry again because he's so great. He's a great person. And we don't have the same vision in life as I started to figure out who I was. And I think as he started to figure out, we both compromised.
I cannot believe that. They literally do the same thing. They both transform to this day. They both are obsessed with taking gym selfies and talking about meal prepping and being on social media. Chris has since now taken his kids off of social media the last time I checked. But before that, he was pushing them out there. And me and the kids are going to Disney World. And me and the kids are making pancakes. Like, you know, exploiting your family for views. They were both into it. So I'm finding that hard to believe that they don't have the same vision for life. Because they are living parallel lives, essentially.
So much on big things that, like, we're just 2 totally different people.
But how did you even come to that conversation? Because sometimes it's easier just to be like, listen, especially when the world wants you guys to be together forever and to stick this out because they see you.
And Heidi wanted to be together. She wants to be with him now. You can tell she's still upset about the divorce. So, and she said it wasn't her choice. She said that many, many times, like, you know, because Dave would always say it wasn't his choice, which it seemed like that was the case. Rachel said, we're getting divorced and that's it. And so he felt like he was the guy who didn't have a choice. Heidi was the woman who didn't have a choice. And that's why they kind of connected on that, is what they've said. So, yeah, her question is, well, how did you have that conversation? Well, it sounds like Heidi didn't. Heidi was told by Chris it's not going to work.
Guys together, it's easy to push all of those feelings down and just tough it out. You got kids, you have a brand, you have a business.
Wanted.
It's so,
and what she's describing is what exactly Heidi wanted. Let's just suffer through it.
In my opinion, I feel like it would be so much easier just to ignore that. ignore what you're feeling inside and the holes that you have.
Yeah, I think, I mean, this is such a delicate thing, but it's like I'm in a space of authenticity, so I'm like, let's talk about it. I think who I was, I've always been a really good person.
Same. Me too. I am such a good person.
Really kind, and also some of the ways that I was during certain parts in my marriage with Chris, which was not totally faithful, for a handful of months. And just being honest, I have never actually talked about it ever.
Okay, this is the big revelation. Revelation number one, Heidi, I mean, it's been talked about, you know, on Reddit and whatnot, and there's been speculation because they've said that there was unfaithfulness. So she was unfaithful for a handful of months. Interesting. I have not heard that factoid. Continue.
You can't, that's a thing you can't recover from. And I feel like the reason I'm sharing it is,
and I will give her a lot of credit. That is very difficult to admit, especially when you were like America's sweethearts and people love Chris. I mean, it took her however long. They broke up in 2020, so 5 years later. But still, I mean, I will give her the kudos that it is not easy to admit this. Not many people would. And I'm kind of surprised that she is, to be honest. Maybe the ketamine's kicking in right now and she's feeling honest.
Sorry. But I feel like
I do not think this reporter thought that that was going to come out, because she was acting like, you're the best person that's ever walked the earth. Like, you know, it'd be so easy just to, you know, stay together. And now she's admitting, well, we couldn't because I cheated. That's tough.
Sorry.
I kind of do feel bad for
but
her,
I feel
actually.
like if I didn't, the world, because he technically chose to leave, but we both knew, like 5 years later. Yeah. But I think the world might think it's him, and I don't want them to, you know. And I think in the past, when the topic of marriage and divorce has come up, it's like really hurt me and him to see people say, oh, I can't believe your husband left you. So there, yeah.
And he's never, well, he has, I guess. He said once, he did a response or something and said it was, you know, there was unfaithfulness. He did say something along those lines. He never said, my wife cheated on me or Heidi cheated on me. So he kept it a secret, which I think is very respectful. And he, you know, poses with her on camera and makes cameos in her social media. So I think they do have some love between them, because she's never admitted it, which could also be respectful to him.
Thank you.
Yeah, I don't know. If this is her road to being actually more authentic, I'm here for it, to be honest. Like, the road to redemption is tough. She actually does have, I think, the openness and the willingness to look bad, and even especially with this. So maybe this is a likable moment. Hashtag likable? Hashtag actually relatable moment? What do you guys think? Am I being too nice? Arian Bates. Thank you so much, Arian Bates. Arian says, thank you for this, Kia. She is delulu and needs so much professional help. Please buy some treats for Taro. Kitties keep us sane while Hollisville goes off the rails.
Taro, you got some treats. You should come up on the desk and say thank you.
She's waiting for her. Oh, in 1 minute, actually, she's going to get her dinner. So this will be perfect. We'll have a post-dessert.
You're jealous?
I am jealous of Taro's dinners.
I'm gonna stomp you.
You're gonna get spanked by the universe.
That's what I told myself after I get out of the shower and there's no baby powder.
This is a really intense woman.
Thank you, Arian.
And thank you, Taro, for being the sweetest princess in the whole world.
She's looking at me like, I'm hungry. Okay, back to it. This is a moment, guys.
There was infidelity in the middle of our marriage. And
I wonder who it was.
It's very difficult. Once trust has been broken, it is like, it's a really hard thing to recover from. And
Jade looks uncomfortable. And she shouldn't be. This, if you're an interviewer, like, and you want to get real with people, you gotta be like down to have the conversation. She seems uncomfortable.
you know, now this is part of the trauma. It's like, that was the moment for me, now that I'm talking about it. That was the moment for me where I was like, what the actual hell? You know, there was something in me that I didn't feel, it's not Chris, so I want to be very delicate.
Sure.
I didn't even know how to advocate for, I didn't even know what I needed. I had no idea. Yeah. I didn't know how to, and especially even not knowing, but even if I knew, I didn't know how to advocate for it. I didn't know how to ask for it. I didn't want to put people out. I didn't want to, and it created this thing where I was, I just became what I thought I needed to be. And then it's like when there's an avenue of, oh my gosh, someone sees me and I don't even have to ask them to see me, even if there's no, you know, the emotional side of it's worse than anything, right? Because it's just suddenly, it's like I melt into and can be seen and appreciated by someone the way that I don't know how to ask my husband to see me, right?
I don't know what she's talking about.
So that was a huge, and I mean, that was halfway through the marriage. And so us laying everything out.
So that would have been 2010, right? Because they were together. They broke up in 2020. No, so it would have been 2015 that happened, I think.
Seeing that it was there, and I, you know, when I told Chris, I didn't think he would stay, and he did, and he tried to make it work. And
I wonder how he found out. Did she tell him? Did he find out on his own? I'm curious about the details of that.
Seeing that it was there, and I, you know, when I told Chris, I didn't think he would stay. Yeah. And he did.
So she said she told him. Okay. I'll believe that, I suppose.
And he tried to make it work, and he tried really, really hard. We both did, and I would say for a couple of years it was great, better. And then, I think it was great because maybe potentially, I can't speak for him, he tried to push down how he really felt and how it really hurt him, and we were still doing the show at the time. I think when it all came out.
Geez, they were doing the show at the time? Ooh. Well, I see why he stayed. I guess for that. Business reasons. Yikes. Interesting. So they really were bullshitting quite a bit. But I guess you do it for the dollar, you know? You got a national television, syndicated television show. You better really think about how much it hurts you. Oof. Yikes. Arian Bates, thank you so much. Arian Bates says, also, yes, I think you're being too nice, but you could just be a kinder person than me. We appreciate your perspective. Maybe I'm too close. I'm too close to the action here to see clearly anymore.
I am getting emotional right now.
I just feel like people, you know, when people do something that you appreciate, if you don't acknowledge it, then it's easy for them not to do it again. Does that make sense? Like, if I'm accusing her of being fake, but then I feel like she's being real, if I don't acknowledge that, then it's easy for her to be like, well, I was being real. That one time you didn't give me credit for that either. So.
I'm having like emotional come out of my head.
Feel bad for me, please. I'm just trying to be nice.
We're talking about something awful, terrible, the unimaginable.
People thinking I'm too nice. That's what I feel. Thank you, Arian. Okay, back to it. Huck to it.
It was the last season of the show, and we would see a therapist every week or every other week. We'd literally fly to LA to go see a specific therapist every single week. Maybe it was every other. We really did try hard, and it just, the longer our marriage went, the more resentment maybe there was. And so it did get to a point where it was like, both of us, we would have very open conversations about it. And our therapist would, she would say, I'm not here to keep you together. I'm here to help you guys make the decision that's best for your family. Yeah. And it was it was very clear by, I think year 8, we're like, okay, we're gonna give it 2 more years. We set a time. And if we can't feel better within 2 years, Chris, and he felt like he was becoming the worst version of himself. And I saw it, and I also knew that the worst version of himself was because I literally hurt him more than anyone. It's the worst thing you can do. You know, and even if I had my thoughts and my reasons, there's no excuse. There's just not. And also, I love and forgive that part of me because I see why in looking at who I was and how I was raised and what I endured in different ways. I get it. And so I forgive. And also, I think he needed freedom and he needed a release. And I think I needed a release. So we decided in 2019 that it was over. And we actually didn't tell the world for a year. So we lived together for a full year.
What?
It was the most amazing thing. Like, really? Yeah. And I'm saying this from my perspective. You could talk to him and he could be like, it was absolute hell, right? But I feel like I had learned so much, so many learnings about who I was from 2015 to 2020. It was huge, 2015 to 2019, because I had to eat crow for what I'd done over and over and over and over. And I also had to figure out how to find peace and love myself and not be like, you don't deserve to live. Because there were so many times where I'm like, what a piece of crap I am. Like, why would I, what is wrong with me? All this negative self-talk that would go through my mind because of what I'd done. And I only knew myself as this lily white, super kind, super nice, raised in a great family in Mesa, Arizona. And here I am, in religious terms, like I committed the worst sin you could, it's like I didn't even know. And I didn't think anyone else in the world had done it. I thought this was just me. Yes. And I felt like I had a scarlet letter forever. So I don't.
Like, cut something there? Why would they do that? They're like, okay, it got too real. Let's cut this part out. Wow, okay, so I feel like it sounds pretty honest to me. Does it make her look good? No, it does not. But it does give some clarity to the situation. Yeah, I don't know. Let's keep watching. I'm going to hold my thoughts until we hear what the point of this is. Like, what is she doing this interview for? I'm curious. Is she just, like, deciding now to, confess all her sins? And what's she promoting? Like, what's going on? I guess I need to know.
Yes. And I felt like I had a scarlet letter forever. So here it is. But I would find, like, even when I'll finish this thought, but okay,
the one thing I will say negative is admitting this and saying that you have a problem, and it does win points for me. However, previously, until today, watching this, you've been teaching people how to live their life and to have better relationships and to find their why and to this and that. It's like, but you weren't being honest about who you were. So how are you ever able to help other people find out who they are? Your lived example is to hide and be ashamed of the things that you've done, yet you're charging people money to teach them how not to do that. I don't love that. That's kind of my take on it. Like, all this is fine if you're not giving out advice and charging money for it.
Even when I met Dave after the divorce, the first thing, as soon as I would meet a friend, anyone, where I could tell immediately there could potentially be depth, there was so much shame for what I'd done 6 years prior that I would say, hold on, I need you to know who I am.
So it would have been 2014.
Here's what I did.
Heidi.
Yeah, and for a very long time. And
Heidi, no, lie. I wanted you to lie, and you should lie more. Girl.
Dave was the one, he helped me heal that with therapists. But like he would say at some point, a couple years in, he'd be like, stop bringing it up. Yeah. That is not who you are. That is what you did. Like, Heidi, that was the first thing you told me when we met, because there's a part I never wanted to feel like somebody loved me because they didn't know all of me. So there's so much freedom in being able to say, here's who I am. Like, you think okay, here's who I am. Now choose. And if you choose no, I'm learning to love who I am with all of the things that I've done and who I've become as a result of it. But yeah, it was definitely a big thing.
From one very high profile
these jump cuts are not good.
Relationship to another one with Dave Hollis.
Yeah.
What did that fulfill for you? How did that relationship go? And then
attention online. That's what it fulfilled for her.
And of course, the heartbreaking ending and the tragic ending.
Yeah, sorry, I gotta drink this.
Yeah, no, take your time.
Sorry, you guys.
Take your time. But how did you guys even meet? Because it was actually a couple years.
So they jump cut twice awkwardly, so much so that it's like jarring. Yet they couldn't cut that out, or she's got to drink from her ice cup. This is a weird edit.
Okay.
Local news, am I right?
Sure, right?
So 2019, Chris and I started our divorce.
Yeah.
We lived together, which was great. So to kind of finish that, Chris and I actually, it was good for the kids because I didn't want what had happened in my first divorce. Didn't want that again.
What happened?
And
then?
so Cash and Rubes, they were used to it. We sat them down and talked about it. No one in the world knew, no one outside of our home really, and our business partners knew until a year later. So they had a whole year of getting clear and solid that mom and dad are getting divorced.
Yeah.
And dad's here, mom's here. We even tried this like nesting situation where one of us stayed in the home with the kids. We got a condo and we would kind of swap. So dad would go to the condo, mom would come home for a week. Then mom.
I heard that's the new thing now. Someone brought that up to me recently. It's like the new trend, I guess, with divorced families. And I'm like, why was that not always the way it was done? It makes a lot of sense. Instead of mom having a house and dad having a house and moving the kids between the houses, they have the family house and then the mom, I guess because it's 3 properties as opposed to 2. I suppose that's why in this economy. But it does make sense for the stability of the kids. Like they have their bedrooms, they have their things, and then you can have your own life too as the, newly divorced mom or dad. You can go and have your own apartment, and then you don't, then you can go back to your family house, watch the kids, and then go back. I think that there's perks to that a lot. Obviously, it's only for, the rich and wealthy among us. But to be fair, you're not getting divorced unless you're rich and wealthy these days either, because how can you afford one salary, or divorce lawyers and all of that. I think a lot of people are probably staying together and hate each other because of the money situation right now with a lot of people. Anyways.
Mom would go to the so I feel like we did it really well with the kids that time. And Maddox and Marley, that was their second divorce. Yeah. They spent more time with Chris than they had their biological dad because of the custody. So it was traumatic for everyone. So move out when we finally were like, okay, divorce is done, we're split, we'll let the world know, which we did in May 2020 in COVID. That was another reason.
And she met Dave in June, I believe, 2020. But technically, she's been single for a year. Dave and Rachel got divorced. They announced, I believe, May 2020, but it had been like a month or so private about it. So yeah, this is butting up to that timeline.
We did. In the middle of the pandemic. We spent a handful of months together during the pandemic, and we actually had fun. We had reels that we posted where Chris and I were dancing, and I'm sure there was a lot of pain for Chris, but it was. I feel like it was really great. I met Dave. So it's funny. I was just watching a video the other day. A friend of mine sent me a video from July 2020, and he and I had gone on a business trip with a couple other people that I was working with, to Texas. And a week prior, a week or so prior, I had seen that Dave and Rachel Hollis were breaking up. I didn't even know who Dave was.
Right.
But I saw Rachel Hollis was getting divorced. I sent her a long message just saying, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry, because I had just gone through my second one.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, and then I sent Dave just hey, I'm so sorry for what you're going through. Very short. At the time, I was like very conscientious of.
I wonder if Rachel responded. Probably not, I would guess. She was too busy being a mogul herself.
I don't want anyone to think I like them, because I had put myself in many situations with men where they thought I liked them and then I couldn't say no, and that was the story of my life.
Yes.
Story of my life. If I'm with a man in a room and they think if I don't, I still say, learning to have boundaries with men. Yeah. But yeah, I messaged him, and then he sent a sweet message back. I don't even know how long after, just saying, yeah, I appreciate it, out of the blue. Really hard for me. I know you've been through this at some point. It was a little back and forth. I'd love to podcast about divorce. I guess Rachel and Dave had a podcast called Rise Together or something.
Or something. It was still the name of his podcast. He kept the same name, Rise Together, I believe, with Dave Hollis. You should know that. Okay. But whatever. I guess I don't know it anymore.
He said, I'm getting the podcast. Rachel's doing her own. I'd love to have you on, just talk about divorce, because I don't know what the hell I'm doing. And I have no idea how to navigate this. I'm lost. It's an identity crisis. And I said, okay, great. Virtual or in person? He said, well, I'm in Texas either way. I said, I'm going to Texas in, I don't know, a couple weeks, whatever it was. So I decided to fly. I was in Dallas for business. And then I decided after that, I just hop a flight to Austin, which is where he was. And yeah, a friend of mine had sent a video of me the other day in Dallas. And the version of me that I saw, I actually got a little emotional about it, because it was a version of me that was still trying to try too hard. Like still maybe on the tail end of this marriage where I had royally effed up, and I was starting to figure out who I was. I was starting to see that I had a little bit of a wild side, a fun side in me that had been like caged my whole life. And I, would party a little bit. Like it just was a side of me that was like, I had this choker on. I literally sent it to my friend. I'm like, I am embarrassed by this person. And then I started going, okay, at that time in my life, there was how was I actually got really emotional, because I was like, how did I show up? How did this feel for Chris? How did this feel for my kid?
Because she wore a choker? I think you're okay, girl. I can't believe it. I wore a bracelet. Okay. I guess I need to see the image of how risque this choker was.
How did it feel for people in my life who were my friends? I was just in this world that, like, in those 5 years from the show until divorce, my career had kind of skyrocketed a little bit. And then more after the divorce, but it had grown. I don't want.
Did it? What do you mean? The Crest White Strips ads, or what were you doing? I think the pinnacle was the show. I think, from my understanding, from my perspective, that was the highest high. She didn't go on to a different show or start working on Biggest Loser or something and like, oh, I was fine. It kind of ended when the show ended. Now she's, she's like almost like a Bachelorette contestant. Like, oh, they have their moment, they're on TV, and then they get a bunch of followers, and then maybe they keep the social media game going for a while with the affiliate ads and whatnot. But that's a downgrade. If you go on to E! News or something, that's, then okay, your career continues. But, okay, maybe I'm being harsh.
I want to say skyrocketed. It had grown, and I saw this girl who was like a teenager, right? And had maybe gotten a little bit of power and saw her sexuality for the first time and didn't know how to use it. And it's what everyone goes through. Yeah. Usually at 18.
Right.
And here I'm watching this version of me at 37 or 30, whatever it was, going through this. And it was very emotional the other day. It was like I actually.
Do we remember this? I mean, she's always been kind of like sexual-ish with the, her outfits and climbing on Dave and all those things, but it was never overtly sexual, in my opinion. I don't know, maybe the way she sits sometimes or like her angles can be, but that's been recently, so I don't remember this phase that she's describing.
Saw how I felt like maybe I already knew I showed up, but to see it was really difficult. And then I was talking through it to a friend. I said, what's so cool is the next day I met the man who literally changed me, Dave. So I flew to Austin to go record a podcast with Dave. Not attracted to him at all.
Ugly as hell. Just disgustingly gross, but you gotta do what you gotta do. Get on these podcasts. Jade doesn't know what's going on. She's not following this story at all. She needs to watch a couple episodes, catch up, because she's swimming. She's like, oh, who'd you meet? Dave. Okay.
I met the man who literally changed me, Dave. So I flew to Austin to go record a podcast with Dave. Not attracted to him at all. I just was online, not attracted to him, didn't even think, and I showed.
This is so funny to me. He's in heaven right now looking down like, really? Ay, ay, ay. Get a life, me. Oh, it's dark. Okay, sorry.
Up, and I remember he was waiting outside for me when I pulled up to his house. Just the energy of him was so big and so awesome. And I could tell he was sad, so we just immediately connect. Like, you know, how are you doing? He said, effing shitty, is what he said. And I was like, oh, okay. Got it. I know where we're at. Yeah. So it ended, we went and sat down to podcast, and he just started crying. And so it became a 4-hour conversation of everything. And it was in that moment, that conversation, that I told him, hey, just so you know who I am, because he's like, I think your divorce and mine are the same. I'm like, I don't think it is. He's like, no, because Chris left you and Rachel left me. I said, yeah, but here's who I am. Here's what I did. Here's what made it more complicated.
I feel like Dave would say that. Like, yeah, our divorces are the same. It's like, dude, you've never met this person in your life. He's like, yeah, but I know everything. Rachel left me because I just I would just talk over her. But that's not what's going on with you. What's going on with you is, let me tell you what's going on with you. Mansplainer.
You know. But it was just a very authentic, real, vulnerable conversation. And anyone watching this is like, that's a trauma bond. For sure. It was a trauma bond. And it was exactly what it needed to be at that time in my life. So we created a friendship that lasted a couple months before we went on any kind of a date. But it was a beautiful friendship. We text every day. I felt so, because I wasn't attracted to him when I first met him.
How many times is she going to say this? I think she needs to further that he was ugly to her a couple more times, just to really just get it in there now that he can't defend himself.
I felt so safe with him. I felt like he was the one man who wasn't going to rape me, because I actually was raped at 38 years old. 38, what 38-year-old? Right. It gets raped by someone that she knows because she can't say, and when she says no. So just, it was.
Whoa, that's new. And she said she was 37 when she got divorced from Chris. So it must have been before she met Dave? We've never heard that story before. And I guess that's what she was alluding to earlier when she said, if I'm in a room and someone likes me but I don't like them, I can't say no. Yikes. That's not good. I hope she is talking to a therapist about that. Please. My goodness. Okay, well, I didn't know that was going to be in there. Trigger warning. Reverse trigger warning. I'm going to play it again to hear the details. So if that's something you don't want to hear again, beware. Yikes.
Was raped at 38 years old. 38. What 30?
And the thing is, like, I'm going to give her a pass here also because it's very serious what she's saying. But when she's like, what 38-year-old gets raped? There is no numbers or ages where rape is no longer a thing, unfortunately. And I think if she's going to be teaching women how to do anything, she should be a little bit more sensitive to that and go, look, if she's going to start bringing this into her content, it shouldn't be like, oh, older women should know better, should be better, should protect themselves more. That's ridiculous. That's not something that we should be perpetuating. It can happen at any age, at any time, and it's not your responsibility or your fault because you didn't protect yourself enough. I know you guys know that, but just in case that's not clear, because she's kind of saying like, only, young girls should be raped. Like, what are you saying?
Because I actually was raped at 38 years old. 38. What 38-year-old? Right. It gets raped by someone that she knows because she can't say, and when she says no. So just, it was so healing for me to be with someone like that and create just a deep friendship. He was the first person to ever see me for all of who I am and literally just celebrate me. And it was also difficult because he was in a place where part of maybe what made celebrating so easy for him.
Again, going back to the content and why self-help is so dangerous, I think. Not even dangerous like it's going to hurt you, but dangerous because it's a lie. And it's a lie that they want you so desperately to buy into, literally buy into and believe wholeheartedly at these conferences and at, in these books and whatever. This is what's going on in her life. She is going through these traumatic events. She's, discovering herself, figuring herself out. Meanwhile, going to the public and saying, I am perfect and I have the answers for you, and I'm going to charge you money to come and hear me speak about how I figured it all out. And if you're taking advice from this person, or you're getting connected to this person and you're believing in this person, you're not seeing the whole picture. And I don't like that's what happens when we pedestal these people that don't have credentials. It's like you're just following this person around thinking, oh, I like, she's really pretty and she's fit and she's being vulnerable sometimes, so I trust her. It's like you don't even know half of it, and she could be a totally crazy person because she's not telling you the truth. And it's not like she owes you, but at the same time, it's like you're not getting the full picture. You know what I'm trying to say? Okay.
Is he was struggling with a lot on his own. Maybe his way of wanting love was to give he had so much love to give, and there was a lot of pain where it was coming from. So yeah, hands down, up until that point in my life, definitely Dave was the love of my life. I don't know if I'll ever find anything like.
Now, why did they break up then? I hope that she answers that. Like, if he was the love of your life, he was the best guy ever, and there was no problems, and he did everything perfect, why were you broken up when he died?
Like that again. And also, I don't know, you just don't know. It never could have lasted. It never could have lasted because there was trauma on both sides, stuff he was struggling with.
Yeah.
But also he was so amazing. And I hate that, I hate it. I hate the way that he went out.
How did you find out?
I hate the way he went out. That was kind of a casual way to say it. Okay, so now I read this part in the Reddit recap. So now she's going to talk about the day he died, or the night he died, technically. I haven't heard this part, but this is what it's leading up to, it seems like.
I hate it. I hate the way that he went out.
How did you find out?
So I had this has actually never been, I have, my closest friends know, but I had talked to him the night he passed, the whole day. He and I were broken up, still talked a lot, every single day. Yeah. And his last day, he was so introspective. He had actually just come back from Arizona. He was in LA on Wednesday. He passed late Saturday night. But he was in LA on Wednesday, and I had gifts for his kids for Christmas, which is funny because it was February. I just hadn't got them to him. And I also had some suitcases of mine he was going to return for me because we had just been together a couple weeks prior, but it was like I had said, I think we're done. We're done because just things weren't feeling right for us to have a future together, and also we were so tightly connected.
Well, to be fair, going back to that time, he had been in rehab. Obviously, that wasn't working, at least the night that he died. Probably not before that, too. And he was, not talking about that publicly. He lives in Texas, or lived in Texas at the time. She lived in Arizona. He's got 4 kids. She's got 4 kids. They were trying to travel back and forth to make it work. It was not working. So... yeah, I don't think Dave's business ventures were working for him. When she said that they saw each other recently before he died, that was in Napa, I believe. They went to a retreat with all the, gurus of the day. Jay Shetty, Tom Bilyeu, Marie Forleo, all those people were together. And Heidi and Dave were there. Now, during that, they hid this from everybody, but we found out from Ed Millette, I think, said it after he passed, that Dave had gone to the hospital during that Napa trip because he had heart problems. So that's why it was kind of like, well, maybe he did have a heart attack and that, he had undiagnosed, or he had a worse heart problem than he realized. But maybe it was not just heart, maybe it was drug related, we don't know. But he went to the hospital sometime at that point, and then they broke up, I guess. So maybe something happened we don't know about during that trip, but it was rocky at that time. So anyways, that's just some context.
So he'd come over to grab those on Friday before he had left, and yeah, he was sad, and very just his text. He actually, I mean, I have to show you this. It's really kind of crazy.
This is crazy.
I mean, you can actually see. He had some really great last conversations. Okay, so.
I don't know if I like this. It feels weird when someone passes away to like go on a podcast and show the text messages. I did not like it at all when people in the self-help world were posting like voice memos of Dave after he passed that had like nothing to do with anything. It was like people saying like, yeah, I knew this guy who died, give me some attention. I felt it was very icky to me. I don't love this either. I think it's like, this is your private messages, just let it be. But here we are.
This is the day before. So he sent this as he left. It was just a sweet text thanking me for compassion, my kindness, and
he was saying how great of a person I am, so I have to talk about it.
Essentially saying that where I am right now, meaning a little bit lost, is where you were 8 months ago when you were finding yourself. And he said he knows a better version of him. Then he sent this. He did this every single flight. He'd sent a picture of him in that little filter. And then he said, last one for a while. Have a great weekend and good luck with Alyssa. She's going to be amazing. So then I checked in. And if you were to kind of go through,
oh, Heidi.
It was so sweet. So his last day, Saturday, his text, saying.
She does not know how to like handle this conversation at all. This is supposed to be a podcast about moms. Mom life. She's like, Heidi, this is like a very deep lore Hollisville right now. She's not prepared for this interview.
And if you were to kind of go through,
oh, Heidi.
It was so sweet. So his last day, Saturday, his text, saying about his therapy session and how he realizes in like us breaking up, it wasn't just losing me, it was losing the kids and how much he loved my kids. And
yeah, no shit. That's the thing. It's like all the haters were saying this for so long. They went like full bore into building bunk beds on camera with the children. They had only known each other for a couple months. Everyone that was hating them were saying, pump the brakes. This is not a healthy situation. You're putting your kids at risk of being heartbroken because they're being told by their parents that they have these new siblings now. And then if you guys break up because you do not know each other and you're rushing things so fast and you're flying back and forth every day chaotically, it's going to be a mess. That's what we were all saying. And they act like, oh, it's so crazy. Like, I just, now I'm hurt by this. It's like, yeah, that's what we were saying, that it's bad. It's not a good thing to do. And I don't, everyone to each its own, live your own life. Like, I'm not giving out advice. I'm not no guru of life. But I don't think the hate that they received was hate. I think it was people seeing from the outside what was going on and going, that's not a good idea. But they were too wise for it. They were too, we get it. We understand. We're the teachers. We're the coaches. They could not think that they could do wrong. And that was his fatal flaw, I think.
He sent Maddox a text and said how happy, how proud he was of him. Sent him, it was on Maddox's birthday. It just, the whole thing and him processing and saying, here's how life is showing up for, he was the most, I had a feeling, I say this, I think his soul knew.
Yeah.
I think his soul knew.
He didn't know he was gonna die. And if he did, I guess you always take the risk if you're, snorting cocaine that could have fentanyl in it. You have to know to a certain degree that it could be, your last time doing that, I suppose. But I don't like that explanation. Oh, it's all okay because his soul must have known. It's like this guy was going through a really bad time and he needed help from an actual person that could help him. And he did not get it, probably in part because he was so egotistical from the self-help bullshit community that makes it seem like you need to tough it out and be strong. And if you could just choose to be happy and everything will be fine. So there's a lot of tragedies built into this. And so I think her saying, I think it's so new. It's just like to be forgiven. Like, well, there's nothing we could do about it. Yeah, there was a million things you could have done. There's like actually a million things you could have done differently. But, can't go back now. But maybe in the future, you seek some help from a real professional.
Yeah, it was. Then we ended up talking that night at like 11 something.
And she said he died really late Saturday. So she's saying we talked Saturday night at 11. So so he died within an hour of you talking? Because that's pretty profound.
His time, 9 something, my time, 11:43 actually, 9:43. Because I could tell something was wrong. And so we're trying not to connect to make breakup easier. And this day just happened to be a day where it was like emotions. And I knew he needed to be held emotionally. But yeah, we talked that night and he was really having a hard time. And he was struggling with his breathing. And I didn't know, I asked, is your breathing okay? And he had been drinking a little bit. Mm-hmm. And I actually made him.
That was not all he did, obviously. And I haven't heard this part yet, but struggling with your breathing. And also he was very publicly saying he was 100% sober. 100% sober. She's saying, he was drinking a little bit. First of all, in the news article, the Wall Street Journal, it said that his friend had to drive him home because he was so belligerently drunk. So she's downplaying that quite a bit. And obviously he did cocaine as well. So we know that. But this is not good for her. Not that there's like negligence criminally that could be associated with this, but if you were so concerned that he was so bad that he wasn't breathing, it's like you wouldn't have called somebody maybe? I don't know. Okay, let me just hear it out.
Night, and he was really having a hard time. And he was struggling with his breathing. And I didn't know, I asked, is your breathing okay? And he had been drinking a little bit. Mm-hmm. And I actually made him lay down. I said, can you lay down? It's midnight your time. Lay down. And so we did, and he was emotional and just saying he was struggling with where he's at. And I said, what's interesting?
Again, too, like we know, like he died, and so we have all this information. We could see the truth now because there was, he literally was not alive to be able to hide it anymore. But if this had never come out and he had survived or, whatever, like gone to the hospital maybe, but then was fine, he would have probably continued on with the coaching and with the I'm perfect speeches and the I have the advice, I'm going to write another book bullshit. And that's the concerning part. It's like when people get involved in this world, they aren't allowed to live anymore because he had all this pressure on him that was self-inflicted, but self-inflicted pressure to be perfect. And yet again, what he's going through is a nightmare, and we're supposed to pay you money to model your life? That's crazy. But what are you supposed to do? Admit that, Anyways.
The text before he called said, last word of the night, that I'm releasing myself from this. All I feel like you need to hear is this: be kind to yourself. You're a great person with so much good in your life. It's hard right now, I know, but you'll get through it. You are so loved by so many. And then I didn't know where he was at mentally, so I had mentioned, please don't hurt yourself, kind of a thing. We talked.
Look at her face. She's like, oh shit. She's looking like you're about to be in trouble here. So she's like, don't hurt yourself. But she didn't call anybody in town. She doesn't know anyone. He had no friends in Austin that she could contact. They'd been dating for 2 years, right?
Please don't hurt yourself, kind of a thing. We talked. I put him to bed virtually. And then I woke up in the morning and I actually said, I'm not going to reach out to you tomorrow. Not because I don't love you, but because this breakup is hard and I want you to. We had gone through something the weekend before because I hadn't reached out. So I prepped him, said, we're not going to talk tomorrow. And I woke up with a knowing that he was not okay.
Well, maybe because he said he couldn't breathe and he was blackout drunk and high talking to you on the phone, and he's also saying he's so miserable and his life sucks. Maybe that triggered you. Maybe it's not just a intuition feeling. Maybe it was a giant red flag siren on that you didn't do anything with. And again, like, what is she supposed to do? I don't know. Maybe nothing. But it sounds like, again, if there was someone to be able to help him, it was you.
And yeah, I just checked in on him over and over. And then I sent someone out. And also my brain had gone to a couple weeks.
Okay, now we have a flash dissolve. Weird.
And then I sent someone out. And also my brain had gone to a couple weeks prior when we were at a retreat together, he and I. So we still were very close.
Yes.
I remember all of my laughs with him.
You have the longest breakups of anyone in history.
You have no idea.
Seriously.
Yeah. But
so funny.
He had to go to the hospital because his blood pressure was so high a couple weeks prior. So then I'm like, okay, could it have been his heart? Or his, what was it, his blood pressure? Did he have a stroke? So no one had any idea. When I had his old nanny on the phone, when I told her to go check on him, she did. She didn't even work for him at the time. I said, please go break into his house and make sure he's okay. And she had found him dead. Yeah. And
ooh, the nanny found him dead after she called her. Yikes. Well, the nanny would have saw the drugs, probably, the leftovers, so she probably had some indication.
In the same position with his phone.
Stop.
One hand was like on his heart, his phone was in his hand, so it was like he hung up and just passed away. So yeah, when I remember...
And that makes sense if he was on FaceTime with her or calling her or whatever, because the way that the Wall Street Journal made it seem was that he was on Reddit reading about himself and died. And, who knows? Maybe he was. Maybe after he got off the phone with her, he was doing that. Who's to say? But it was the assumption that he was so miserable because of the haters. But I just don't buy that narrative. I'm sure it bothered him. But it's not, I think it's because he knew deep down, and this is something that he would say as his advice all the time, when you go to bed at night and your head is on the pillow, if you don't like who you are, it doesn't matter how you appear to other people. And I think that was the perfect thing. Like, he was not living his truth. He was, hey, come to this men's retreat, and I'm a goofy guy, and I got kids, and we're gonna do a segment about lessons of life, and I'm so happy. And in reality, he was a mess, obviously, with a drug problem, a drinking problem, whatever else problem, depression problem. And it's like, dude, we all have these issues. But again, pedestaling yourself, that's the problem. Anyways.
I was driving back from a Colin Ray concert with my mom. It must have been end of March, so a month and a half later. And I was just getting text after text after text. And I was like, what? And someone's text said, ethanol, cocaine, and fentanyl. Wait, what? And I'm like, what are they talking about? Yeah, I'm sorry. I retract. A week prior, I had gotten a call from the sheriff. So I did know, because in his trust or will, I was responsible for his body and his remains. So, which was beautiful because I got to see his body. I got to have a conversation with it. And so the sheriff did call me when toxicology came back, and he told me that, and my heart just dropped. So I remember, and I was like, I'm not telling a soul.
Right.
And I actually had asked, I said, please do not say a word to anyone. I don't want his kids to, I didn't want anyone to know. I didn't want that to be his legacy, because
But it was who he was. That's the thing. Being authentic. I get it. I get trying to hide it, wanting to hide it. He's dead. What's the value now? But it was who he was. And he said he was authentic. And he said he was going to be with us, followers, as himself, as he was. We could all rise together, right? So trying to hide that he had a cocaine problem, or, that was the cause of his death, is disingenuous and against his legacy. So I disagree with that. I get where she's coming from, but also it's like honoring him for what he said he stood up for and believed in would have been telling people and going, this is who he was. He made a mistake.
He already was being slammed on the internet by so many
Heidi, when
people.
you think back, this story was huge. It was huge.
I know.
It was huge in my world. It was huge in this channel. Does anyone else in the real world outside of like this bubble know about it? I don't think so. I haven't come across anyone that I know in real life that doesn't, deal with this stuff, that knows who they are or knows Dave died. But okay.
I know. And so then it was like, I had not said a word. I think I had told my mom and that was it. And then a week later, I started being hit with texts and someone got his, what do you call it? Autopsy results and leaked it.
It's not leaked.
Yeah.
There's no leaking of autopsy results. If he died in a county that has public records, that's not a leaking. It's not like, oh yeah, someone went and paid the sheriff under the table. It was, I think People Magazine had it. It was, I guess that would then negate what I just said, which was it was big news. But because he was a Disney executive and he had the whole drama with Rachel Hollis, it did kind of pierce the mainstream when he died, especially when it was from cocaine and, fentanyl. But yeah, that's common practice. There's no nefariousness with that.
And I did know, and I didn't tell his family. I didn't tell anyone. I didn't tell one person because I did not want the mom of Dave, I didn't want her to, it's not like
I thought she meant Rachel. I'm like, the mom of Dave. That's a weird way to talk about Rachel. No. Okay. His mother. Okay. Got it. Sorry.
No. And I didn't tell his family. I didn't tell anyone. I didn't tell one person because I did not want the mom of Dave. I didn't want her to, it's not like I didn't want them to know who he was, but that's such, what a crappy thing to have your worst choice be your last choice that everyone now remembers you by. When I've been around a lot of people on this planet, and there's no one like Dave. No one with a heart like him. Does he have weaknesses, or did he? Yeah, and so did I. If I passed away in my ugliest moment, it's not.
That's why you have to not do that stuff. That's why you have to be careful. That's why you shouldn't be, giving people advice and telling people you're sober and then you're not. Whatever. You already know this.
Fair. It's not a fair representation of the life that he lived, I
don't know about that.
So yeah, it was shocking, and I didn't know how to handle it, and then obviously there's naturally going to be accusations of, you knew. I don't think anyone knew that. And I could be stupid, but I really don't think this was a regular thing for him.
So she's claiming she didn't know. Well, he was in rehab for alcohol. So he admitted he had an alcohol problem, which was partaking in again. So she knew that, because we all knew that. Well, we didn't know he was drinking again, but, we knew he had a problem. He wrote about it in his book. He was in the rehab center. Maybe it was the first time, but if you're doing cocaine at your house for the first time, that's unlikely. If you're at a party or something and it's offered to you, that's more of a believable story. But if you're at home and you got to connect, you got a plug, you got a guy you could call, and I don't think that's the first time you do it on when you're wasted. I don't think you figure that out. I think you have done it many a time before, and you're just, and he was kind of new in Austin, 3 years in or something. He lived in LA. Actually, this is a side note, but Camelia and I, from YouTube, you might know her, we went to California this summer together, and we went to Malibu, and we saw Pepperdine University, which is where Dave went to college. And the first thought was oh my God, Dave Hollis went to this beautiful college. So what did I bring that up for? I don't know why I brought that up. Something about Pepperdine University. Oh, he had lived in California. That's what I was going to say. He had lived in California, in Southern California, his whole life. And then the only reason he moved out of that was to go to, because he quit his Disney job and then went to be the CEO of Hollis Co. So he had his whole 30 plus years of life, 40 plus years in LA. He went to Austin for just a couple years. So he would have, if he already had a connection to get drugs, he would have had to have done it recently. Does that make sense? It's not 10, 20 years ago he did drugs in college and now he called his friend. I just think that this was an ongoing thing, and she probably did know about it. Or if she didn't know about it, she turned a blind eye because she didn't want to see what was going on. Anyways.
Genuinely, because again, maybe I'm stupid. I genuinely think he was pretty dang clean. He was in Texas. I was in Arizona. But
and Pancake gave off cocaine vibes, obviously. And that is referring to the time where he got on his live stream. He was upset about his book sales not being high enough. And he was like, I haven't slept. I'm up all night. He was reading from his own book, saying how genius it was, saying that it was only 18 stinking American dollars and people should read it because they can find a job and they can improve their life. It was like bizarre. And his daughter came out, who was 4 years old at the time, and was asking for breakfast, and he kept pushing her off. His other son came out and he was kind of pushing him off, and it was very embarrassing. Heidi said, love it. Most authentic I've ever seen him, to that video. So, keep that in mind.
There's a lot of people that are like, oh, he must have been always doing that. I don't know that he was. I think part of it, I didn't even know what fentanyl did until I had to research it after. I'm like, what does it do? Well, it actually affects your breathing. So now, in hindsight, the trouble breathing on the phone, I realized was fentanyl. Or, something being laced with fentanyl is kind of what I put the pieces together. And I feel like maybe his naivety to drugs and what they could be laced with is what had him using something that ultimately killed him. Because I think anyone who did that often would be really understanding and in the loop on how dangerous it is and who to get it from. I'm just assuming. I think he would have been safer.
So you're left with...
Maybe. I don't know, though. I mean, he could have, if he was more of a regular user, he could have had a fentanyl test kit. But maybe he was, I'm better than everyone, it won't happen to me mentality, which I could see. And if you're drunk, you're less likely to care. And if you're depressed, you're less likely to care.
This humongous, it's a huge tragedy. You saw it everywhere. It was all over social media. It was everywhere. And then his ex-wife is also huge in the space that you guys are both in. How did you navigate that?
She was actually really great. She really, same. I think anyone...
I'm just surprised to hear that, to be honest. She didn't seem interested at all. It's crazy that Heidi would have his body rights and not his ex-wife. That is crazy. Rachel and him were together for 18 stinking years or something like that. And that he would change his will at 41 or however old he was, 47, I think. He was a little older. At 47 years old, change it over to a woman that he was not engaged to, married to, and breaking up with 100 times. That means something.
One who has a platform, especially a platform like hers, she's really funny. She's really smart. She's a really great mom. They're naturally going to get talked about and picked apart, and people are going to hate them. And there's hate sites everywhere about all three of us, right? Me, Dave, and Rachel. And she's actually really awesome. And I do think her experience with Dave.
I don't think Rachel's ever said anything nice about Heidi. She said once something semi-neutrally nice and saying well, we're so different. When I met her, I realized that I, would never get along with Dave anymore or something like that, kind of backhandedly nice, and then never mention her again, ever.
Was very different than my experience with Dave. I know that I've never read her books. From what I understand, the books kind of share her honest, authentic experience in marriage and dating him. And I don't think she's wrong. I'm sure that version of Dave existed, just like ugly versions of me existed, just like ugly versions of all of us existed or exist, right? Like our shadow selves. But who I got after life tore him down, right? So their marriage ended. I think, most people know it was her choice, which was best for both of them. It was something she needed, and it was something he needed and didn't know that he needed. And that, I think, had created a version of him that was willing to look at himself and show up a different way than maybe he did in his marriage. He definitely wore his heart on his sleeve with me. So I got a great version of him. And yeah, Rachel was great. She was really great. Easy to work with. I really feel
Work with? What do they work on together?
like the kids, you know, it's like everything is truly a blessing in disguise. I'm sure back and forth with the kids was hard anyway, but I feel like she and her new husband are so phenomenal. Like, he's a really great person, the little that I know of him and the few times that I met him. So yeah, I think everything's working out exactly the way that it should have. And also I hate that it happened, you know, the way that it did. But also Dave's at peace. Yeah.
When you talk to your kids about
That's a weird thing to say.
just life in general, like Heidi, you've had a rough go. Like, you've got, if someone wants advice on divorce, they can go to you.
Or
if someone wants advice on dealing with life after death, they go to you. If someone wants advice on having to share families, they go to you.
No, that's the problem, lady. No. Did you not listen to anything she said? No, don't go to her for advice. What are you talking about?
Are basically like an oracle when it comes to life, because you've been through the gamut. So how do you talk to your kids about what can come at them, how to prepare for things, how to deal with things? What are those conversations like? Because you've been through it all.
I am very open and honest with my kids about everything. I mean, I think there are some things that kids shouldn't, I have to be so careful, because when, you know, Ruby's 11 and Cash is 13, what things can I actually share with them that tell them the truth of who I am and what life has looked like, because that's so important to me. And what things might be too heavy for someone their age to hold, right? But I will say, as far as how I deal with all of that and how I share things with, the one thing that was really difficult for me as a teen was finding out that, and this is not directed at my parents at all, because I think I think people are just like this. Yeah. Finding out that who and how my parents really were was not in line with what we were told they were, right? It's just it's like even R-rated movies. Was raised Mormon. It was like when my parents, you know, knowing that R-rated movies were not okay, and then finding out that they watch R-rated movies, or told that drinking's not okay, but then finding out that they drink. And so these inconsistencies, the incongruencies in who my parents were versus who, and they did it to prove a lesson, to be like, hey, don't drink, don't keep yourself pure so we don't do this kind of a thing. And that happens all over, especially in religious cultures. It's like what we're doing behind closed doors is completely different than what we're doing.
Oh, weird. Maybe there's a parallel between you and Dave and your childhood. Oh, maybe it's happening right now. What's happening behind closed doors is different than what you're putting out on social media. Maybe that's something you should think about for a moment and go, do I want to continue the cycle that I struggled to deal with as an adult? Maybe not.
Or telling you guys that we're doing.
Sorry.
And so I have taken a mildly different, I don't want to say drastic, because it's mild and it's delicate, a delicately different approach with my kids, where I want them to know where I am. Like, there are certain things Ruby doesn't know. My older kids and Cash know just about everything. They do. And I like it that way. But it's like
Yeah, great. Burden them with these problems. Great. Good idea.
I always lay the foundation, even when my kids make mistakes. It's like, hey, this is just, or someone else does. Someone else who hurts them. Hey, this is what humans do. Like, we have things we're not proud. We do things we're not proud of. We show up not our best. Now you get to choose how to protect your peace, kind of a thing. But you also, I think just always laying the groundwork for, we're human. We're all gonna mess up. We're all gonna have things that we step into and we feel like our life is never gonna be the same, or our life is ruined, or whatever it is. And good news, It never is. It's never over. It is never ruined. And I think I've thought, what is it about me that I feel like I can offer to humanity or people around me? You don't have to just have hard things happen to you, because I've had that. You also can make some pretty horrible, hellish, dumb mistakes that are innate, 100% rooted in your trauma and your shit. You can make those, and then you can recover from them. And you can actually be a better person because of what you learned from.
Unless you die, then you can't. So in her experience, 50% of the time you can recover and change, and the other 50% of the time you die because you're unwilling to face your problems head on and you're coping with illegal substances. So, conflicting information there. Bye.
I needed someone to say that to me. I needed to know that in order to believe that that was true and to live into it. But like, I had this idea of writing this book. I'm not going to tell you the title because someday I think I'm going to write it.
Yes, let's go.
I know, because it's like there's story after story after story of things that like I stupidly, not thinking, mistakes I made or ways that I was when I was just trying to get my needs met and things that happened to me. There's so many things that brought me shame for so many years. And that shame, when it's not named and it's not processed and it's not talked about, causes you to make the same mistakes again. Like you're stuck in that pattern over and over and over. So if there was a book, if there were all of my stories, good, bad, and ugly, that then connected every experience.
So now it makes sense as to why she's having this interview go on, because she's promoting a book, a hypothetical book. She's getting us prepped that she's got the answers. This is the sickness. This is the disease these people have. Dave died of it. She is living with it right now. She's got chronic I have the answers itis. And it is deadly, as we see. Stop it. Go and get a job that doesn't deal with showing my life is meaningful to humanity. That is the worst business to be in, because this is something I say to myself sometimes. Life is so precious. Life is my life, Tarot's life, anyone in your life's life is so precious. Yet it is the most inconsequential thing. We're all fragile, yet we're all going to die someday, and this will all be over, and the world will explode in a million years, and what does it matter? It's both at the same time, right? Anyways, what am I even saying? What am I even talking about at this point? Beth Peters, thank you for saving me from myself. Beth Peters picked a baby video game controller sitting in a diaper. Good selection, Beth. I love it. I love it so much. This is what I have to say.
It's not $5,000. It's not $2,000. It's not $10,000. It's a lot of money.
That's how much my therapy bill is going to be after I bring up this podcast interview with her this week.
The draining failed and I went into cardiac arrest, and
my father and I get sewn together.
All right, we need a palate cleanser real quick.
The mango frequency.
Oh, I'm healed, thank God. Okay, we're almost done. Thank you, Beth.
Experience to what I actually learned or what I gained or how I grew from it, where peace came from as a result of that, to let people know that you're always enough. You're always okay. You're never too far gone.
Unless you're Dave Hollis, apparently. Unless you're Dave Hollis, the person that you were closest to in the world could not get this advice that you are claiming you're going to put in a book and deliver to people. You were texting him the moment that he passed away, or talking to him on the phone the moment he passed away, and he could not get this message. How do you think this book is going to help someone who's really in need? Pipe dream.
That's what I want people to know. And I think that's what I give to people in a one-on-one basis. I think I let them know that who they are and all of the things that come with you are actually beautiful. You just don't know it yet.
You pour out so much.
No.
Like you really do. You pour out so much to people, whether it's online or even like in this interview.
What what she poured into this interviewer. She's just talked about herself. Those shoes, maybe it's the way she's tied them. Not great, in my opinion. Better shoes are out there.
You are so free with who you are, and you pour so much. So how do you fill back up?
Interestingly,
Instagram likes and monetization, creator fund.
I know this is like not what, but like me sharing and pouring oddly does so much for me. It does. Every single time I share and I pour, it's like I am one step freer. Like this interview, I've never talked about some of this stuff publicly, ever. I didn't even plan on it at all. I had no idea what we were going to talk about. And also there was like a voice that's like, you know what? No, it just be you, be all of who you are. Again,
I support her in that. Honestly, I've given her a lot of kudos tonight on this podcast because I do think she's being honest, you know, for the most part. However, I'm going to put it in a book and change people's lives pisses me off because you need to heal yourself and figure yourself out before you start giving advice to people. Come on. But it's the interviewer's fault. Heidi is being her chaotic self. The interviewer, though, and every other interviewer that interacts with these people on a constant basis, honestly, are more hurtful because they're validating the psychotic thoughts. They're validating the narcissism. They're validating and saying, you just pour into people so much. You are so great. You've done it all. You're amazing. That's actually warping this already fragile brain more than it can handle. And I think they bear responsibility.
Freedom that comes with being free, being unmasked is so beautiful. But how do I pour into me? Let's see. You know,
cold plunge.
Self-care is really important to me.
It's
very difficult. It's difficult. But like I feel like I go to churches. I have a couple different churches that I go to. My kids go to a Mormon church and I go with them. One of my kids is on a mission, and I also have a Christian church that I absolutely love, CCV, that I go to. And also, there's not one place where I feel God like when I'm alone or doing breath work or in a cold plunge. When I never understood that in order to connect with God.
How do you pour into people? Well, I cold plunge. That is always the answer, just so you know.
I first had to connect with me. So there have been times where I'm sitting in a
Heidi is God.
church, and my nervous system is completely dysregulated. And I sit there going, can anyone in this church actually hear God? Or are they all dysregulated? What if before church, we all did breath work and we all connected to who we are, right? So I would leave and immediately go to the place where I would do breath work and cold plunge. And then it was like, oh, here you are. Like here I am. And here you are, God. And now I can actually talk to you. And now what is being said is not bouncing off. It's being soaked in, you know, where before.
I feel like when I did breath work, I felt a similar euphoria, but it was because I was not breathing fully. And you're like, you feel like you're gonna, you know, pass out. And I feel like the little feeling of I'm gonna pass out is euphoric and could feel like a godlike, you know, I don't know, like a near-death experience. But I don't think that's good. I don't think that was a healthy thing I was doing.
It's like when you're walled and guarded and there's so much going on in your life and you can feel it and you're unaware of what that feeling is, like that pit in your stomach, that's a dysregulated nervous system and most people don't know. But then suddenly, like you give me words from a preacher or a pastor or a bishop or whoever, you give me words from the guy at the supermarket and I'm suddenly like, oh, like I can hear all of it. I can actually connect with God and my higher power, which is a really important thing for me. And then being with my kids, I mean, I have the best kids. And they all have their things. Sometimes I'm like, I want you all out of my house. I really do. But like just their hearts and their ability to love, even with all of the crap that comes with their mom. They've been through a lot. They've seen all of the things that I've been through, and I have to remember this, and I do remember. Yeah. They've been through all of it too, and then some. Like They've been through 2 divorces. They've been through Dave's death.
And they have to be put on the internet without getting the benefits of it, without getting the praise and attention on their own accounts and their children. So they have to be subjected to scrutiny without the, choice, without the consent, real consent. They're children and their mom is asking them to do something. So what consent is that, really?
We've been through a different side of, I've had relationships outside of those that have been ugly and not pretty and difficult. They've experienced their mom in abusive type settings where it changes and shifts how I show up. They've been through a lot. And how much they still love and hear me and just show up is beautiful. And that's not their job. Their job is not to show up. I genuinely have incredible souls. As kids, they're so great.
You've been through, it's hard to even wrap up, but you've been through so much.
Lady, we get it. Could you come up with a different question, please? You're an Emmy-winning journalist. All you said is you've been through so much. You've been through so much. You've been through so much. 2 divorces. Do you have another question in there, please?
You've done so many things. You've made so many decisions. You've shared so much.
Podcasts. You have so many accolades. You had divorces, marriages.
How do you want the rest of your life to go? What else is there? What else do you really want to do?
It's so interesting that we're having this conversation now because I just barely, I've been doing healing, some pretty unconventional healing modalities over the last couple of years to heal.
Ketamine,
one of them being ketamine-assisted therapy. I don't know if you've heard of that.
Of course, yeah.
Yeah.
Of course, baby.
I've never talked about it because it's something I don't want people to judge. I don't want. And I haven't known the last 2 years since Dave passed, I shut down most of my businesses, only doing things that were easy, so I didn't have to have a nanny, didn't have to have help. I could be 100% with my kids. And now that my second child is leaving to college, I've been okay, I think I'm ready, but I don't know what next looks like. I don't think it's gonna have movement because people know me as a fitness trainer. It's gonna have food. Sorry, not because people know me as that. It's going to have movement because moving your body is important. It'll have nutrition because fueling and feeding your body to create longevity is important. But also, it's going to
go and become a dietitian. Go back to school. Don't just go, I'm going to tell you what you should eat and it's what I'm selling.
Have a major healing element. So in June, I'm actually doing my first, with a medical team that helped me, we're doing our first ketamine-assisted retreat. And so I'm not saying it's all going to be that, but these different...
So this must be old, this interview then. This just came out recently, but this must be recorded old.
Modalities that are scientifically proven and medically backed. There is study after study on the power of low doses of ketamine, for example, completely rewiring your brain, creating neuroplasticity. So you're not just... there's so many people on antidepressants and they don't even know what's happening in their brain or their body. It's a Band-Aid for...
Shut up. Stop this bullshit. God, let people take their antidepressants. It helps people. It helps me. Shut up.
Symptom of there's something in your nervous system. There's some trauma.
I am completely fine and I take antidepressants. There is nothing wrong with me that I'm going to fix through ketamine or breath work or bullshit. I'm fine. I tell myself as I fill with rage. It's such bad advice.
Well, there's something to dive into, and we're coding your brain so you can't feel it, so you just ignore it. Where
no, that's
when you
not
can
true.
Start to actually do the work.
Take the antidepressants and go to therapy. That's what I do.
And open up and feel safe being who you are. And then at the same time, let's rewire your brain. The medical professionals actually create neuroplasticity and it's an anti-inflammatory for the body, so much in these different modalities of healing. I do know it's whatever forward is, it's helping people heal.
Which is so interesting because for so long, you started on the outside.
Yeah.
We were looking at fitness and food and everything. And now that you're older and you've been through all this stuff, it seems like the importance of what's inside
Yeah.
is just trumps everything.
Yeah, well, there's a quote or a meme around social. I don't remember the exact words, but it's like, it doesn't matter how good the food is that you put in your body. It doesn't matter how you run, how you work out. Like, if you're not healthy here and here, you're sick. And for so long, I thought health had to look like muscles and macros, right? And that's not health. That's like physical, that's very scientific. Health and wellness is connecting with who you are, finding out who you are, and unpacking and just authentically being you and treating your body. You are the most important person in the world. You are. You are the most important person in your world. I am the most important person in my world. If we cannot treat ourselves as we would treat the most important person in the world, we are setting ourselves up for a life of misery. And I don't think that's what anyone wants. I think we all want peace. We all want health. We all want happiness. But we have to do it different than we thought we did before.
You have every reason to not really want to get out of bed. Like, again, horrible, like losing your dad, losing, someone that you...
Losing her dad. I mean, not to say that, like, I don't know. It's not like she's 16 years old and she's like, oh, she lost her dad. She lost her dad as an adult. Her dad was at her wedding. I mean, yeah, it's hard, but that's not like a unique experience. She's had 2 divorces. Many people have many more. Dave dying is weird, but they were broken up. So she keeps repeating first of all, rude. Keep repeating all the negative things that has happened to her. Weird. And it's not that interesting either.
Like, again, horrible, like losing your dad, losing, someone that you love dearly, divorces, everything. So what gets you out? What do you say to yourself?
You go, girl.
I think I just really got lucky. Like, I honestly think every soul is so different. And maybe it's trauma from when I was a kid. I don't know. But also, I just think I always love life. Always. Like, there's only a 8-month period of time before Dave died where I went through anxiety and depression with panic attacks. But I love life. Like, it is, even the hard stuff. I don't know why. I like in the moment and I want to cry, and I do cry, and all these things. Like, it is this beautiful mixture of heaven and hell that like we get to experience and feel. So what gets me out of bed?
The money.
Probably like if I have to go technical. Number one, I just love it, but also I'm really good with my habits. Yeah. Like, I know I'm never going to be motivated to do absolutely anything. So it's like, if I create a system that has me create habits, I'm going to get up. I'm going to make my bed. If I'm not motivated by then, I'm going to find it throughout the day.
I'm going to count down from 5 because the genius Mel Robbins taught me that.
But also, just now, if we're going to go emotional, my kids, myself and my kids,
Such a unique answer.
A little bit of everything. Life is so good. And also, it's really tragic and it's really hard, But then there's this thing too, that's like, we don't know if this is our life. No one really knows, right? We all believe what we believe, and I can choose, but no one really knows. No one. If this is the only life I have, and it might be, it might not be, but if it is, why would I waste it doing anything other than living it to its fullest?
Why would I waste it on Instagram? I don't know. Good question. Maybe you should ask yourself.
I love that.
Give us nothing, girl. I love you.
Think of any, girl. I loved every ounce of that. I'm so glad we did this.
You got more out of me than anyone ever has.
You give so much to people, and I feel like it's so nice to pull back the curtain a little bit and to really sit down and talk.
Yeah.
Heidi, even one of the things you've gone through, I don't know if I can get up and get out. Even one. And you've done it all, and here you are smiling. It's so incredible.
Thank you.
She's interviewing people who've survived fires and stuff, like in her local newsroom, like how is that possible?
Seriously. And I know you hear that a lot, probably. And I don't even know if you realize it, but like your life is not normal. No one should go through that much crap.
Am I crazy? Do I have trauma or something that I think that her circumstances are pretty normal? Like, she's gone through things, yes, but doesn't everybody to some degree? The only difference is that she blasted it out on the internet. That's what makes it interesting, I guess. Her coping skills of putting it out there on Instagram for everyone to see. That's the weird part, the unique part. The dad dying when she was in her 30s and an ex-boyfriend dying and her divorcing 2 men does not seem that crazy.
For real, but it just seems like you, I mean, I'm sure you had horrible times, but you can handle it. Like, you got it. And you have
She's also charging people for advice about how she's figured these things out. So I would hope so.
Little babies looking at you who are like, Mom's got it.
Oh, and that they do know that I have it. And it's something like I feel like I am the mom and the dad. I feel like I'm everything for those. And they have dads, right? But in a home.
She's an enabling person. She's, whether she knows it or not or means it, she's an enabler in a bad way, honestly, this reporter.
You become everything. So it is like, how do I stay strong? And how do I
This is a bad podcast.
also be soft so they can see that you don't always have to be strong? Like, it's a really delicate thing. How do I let them know that they are safe and also let them know that I'm just figuring it out too? So it's like it's a delicate balance.
Oh, girl. You're doing it well.
Thank you.
Momcast. I learned so much about moms and casts. Yikes. Well, there were some revelations and realizations. And hey, look, I'm here actually. I've been here the whole time in my beige top. I didn't wear my beige pants because I'm actually wearing pajamas, as I do every day in this desk. Whew. Okay, well, I'm about to, go deal with my life. And I'm gonna go share with humanity my life experience to teach others about how they can also put on makeup, show up for your life, and get out there and just show the text messages of your deceased loved ones. Because that's what you're supposed to do. Anyways, a lot to unpack. I gotta process it all and think about how I feel. Because that was a lot. I'm sure you feel similarly. I'll be back on Wednesday of next week. We'll pick a good topic. I got a few on the roster, on the list, and we'll go from there. Now it's time to sing my song. Toodaloo.